Hello and welcome back to another breaking news update. My name is Jimmy Boyd and you are watching Boyd News. I want to thank you so much for tuning in today. I've got an update here about North Korea. All right, I haven't talked about North Korea in a few days and I want to give you an update here. So it looks like Kim Jong Un, there's some reports coming out that he could be taking lethal military action against South Korea. Now, obviously, this includes the United States as well, because more than likely we would get involved. At least you would think. But yeah, we got reports here saying that he could be attacking South Korea at some point soon. Now, I'm going to be bringing you lots of different evidence that could be proving that there is a buildup to war here against South Korea and North Korea. Okay, there's definitely a war building up here, and North Korea, they are preparing for war, and they have been for several months now. I want to say all the way since maybe back in September of last year, they've been making it very widely known that they are preparing for war, to go to war with South Korea, potentially even America. And Kim Jong Un has been putting out multiple, threats against the United States, claiming that he'll crush us. He will destroy South Korea. Okay, South Korea has been doing things to prepare. They've been putting more troops on their border on the 38th parallel. And it's really getting crazy over there, and it could really pop off at any moment. So we got reports here coming out. Right before I go over this report, I wanted to show you this video. This came pretty recently, and it's Kim Jong Un talking to all of these officers inside of a big chamber, and people in government over in North Korea, and basically threatening, to crush America should we go to war with them, and potentially even crush South Korea, and claiming that they don't want war, but they are also at the same time willing to go to war if need be. So let's take a look at this real quick, and I want you to see this. So I will be reading the captions as we go, because it is in their language in North Korea. So I'll go ahead and read the captions for you. We do not want war, but we also have no intention of avoiding it. There is no reason to opt for war, and therefore there is no intention of unilaterally going to war. But once a war becomes a reality facing us, we will never try to avoid it. And we will take the perfect and prompt action we have thoroughly prepared in order to defend our sovereignty, the security of the people, and right to existence. The war will terribly destroy the entity called the Republic of Korea and put an end to its existence. And it will inflict an unimaginably crushing defeat upon the U.S. So there you go. So he's claiming that that he will destroy the United States, and the United States will lose that war against them. And obviously, he's been talking a lot about nuclear weapons. I'm going to be showing you some information here that just talks about how he's been going around all over his country, getting everybody prepped up and ready for war. Okay, so we're going to go over this report. I've got this pulled up for you. Kim Jong-un could take lethal military action against South Korea. Report. North Korea leader Kim Jong-un could take lethal military action against the South in the coming months as he ramps up tensions on the Korean peninsula, U.S. officials told the New York Times. The strongman leader in Pyongyang appears to have strengthened his military and diplomatic positions in recent times, the Times report said on Thursday, and he has laid the discursive groundwork in recent moves and pronouncements, that have described the United States as a major threat to North Korea's survival, placing U.S. treaty ally Seoul in its sights too. North-South ties have nosedived after the collapse of dialogue just before the pandemic, an event that served to further isolate Kim's poverty-stricken regime. The alarming shift in North Korea's posture has come with repeated ballistic missile tests, a satellite launch, and overt threats of nuclear war. U.S. President Joe Biden has said a nuclear attack on the US or its allies, Japan or South Korea, or both are both within the range of its missiles, would result in the end of Kim's regime. That's what Biden said. Biden told him that if you attack the US or its allies, that will be the end of your regime, Kim. That's what he told him. Two US officials told the Times that it would be surprising for Kim to risk his political power and to the fragile peace on the peninsula in a full-scale war. However, more than one longtime watcher of Pyongyang has cautioned that the supreme leader may resort to at least limited military strikes to achieve his objectives while avoiding rapid escalation. So there is a lot of talk here that North Korea may be attacking South Korea at some point here, okay? And I'm going to be talking to you in just a second here about some other developing events. But I've been telling you this for a long time, that North Korea is definitely another front that can open up. It can open up at any time, and we have no idea when it's going to happen. But over the last, I'd say, 4 to 6 months, there's been a lot of rhetoric and talk coming out from North Korea that they are preparing for war. And, Kim Jong-un is ready to do this. Okay, he's ready to attack South Korea. He's claimed them to be enemy number one recently. And, he's not happy. So we may see a war breaking out over here between North and South Korea again. So let me show you this. This actually just came out 3 days ago. Interesting, because there wasn't a whole lot of talk. Apparently I didn't catch this. But North Korea fires cruise missiles off of the West Coast. Actually, you know what? I take that back. I believe I did a video on this. They did fire some missiles off of their coast. Actually, this is West Coast. This might be a different report, but I did do a report that North Korea fired some. They were ballistic missiles, actually. Excuse me. So yeah, I didn't cover this, but this looks like it was off the West Coast, and yeah, so they're still firing these missiles and doing these tests, and a lot of this is provocation and them responding. North Korea responding to the South Korea and the United States. We've been doing a lot of joint military drills over there with them, just off the coast of South Korea. And I think also Japan's been joining in with these drills as well. And every time we're doing these drills, that's when, Kim Jong-un starts firing these ballistic missiles, now here cruise missiles off the coast, and supposedly testing these missiles. And it's supposed to be in a show of like force and determination to strike South Korea or potentially the U.S. because we are doing these military drills, and obviously it's in preparation to be ready to defend South Korea under an attack from North Korea. Okay, that's what these drills are for. So, yeah, we got that going on. Let me see what else I had here. So this actually this happened not too long ago. This was just like a week or two ago. North Korea was firing artillery shells basically into maritime waters just off the coast of South Korea. Okay, so this was basically in their region, but was kind of like undisputed waters. I did videos on this. These were actually some of the first videos I put out on my channel when I got started here. And I talked about this, and they were launching artillery shells for about 2 or 3 days. And they were just launching them into the water near an island that's a disputed island off the coast of South Korea, and it's very controversial whose land that is. Is it North Korea's land, South Korea's land? So this was going on recently. So this was major provocation and potential war that could have broken out, but luckily it didn't. Also, I've got for you here, here's another article. This came out actually a year ago, but Kim Jong-un, he ordered his military to prepare for possible war. So look at how far back this whole thing has been going on. And a lot of this really started to ramp up right after the pandemic. A lot of issues were starting to happen between North Korea and South Korea. And it was really starting to ramp up more and more and more. And now we're at a point where we are very close to this war finally kicking off and getting going. So this is just to kind of show you how far back this has been going on. But I'd say in the last 4 to 6 months is when things have really ramped up. Okay, production of weapons inside of North Korea. Lots of facilities are being built, and he has literally told his whole country and his citizens, "Get ready, we're going to war." So, just thought I'd share that with you. Okay, and then also I've got this to show you here too. Let's take a look at this. So, uh, this is a military deal that was scrapped back in November. Okay, North Korea scraps military deal with South, vows to deploy new weapons at its border. Okay, there was a weapons deal. I believe it was called the CMA. What did it stand for? I forget the name of it. Comprehensive Military Agreement. So this is an agreement that was made between North and South Korea during 2018 under the Trump administration. And North Korea decided to pull out of this military deal, and it basically that they wouldn't put a bunch of weapons and tanks or whatever it is that they got on the border of South Korea to basically lower tensions. Okay, so in November 2023, just what was that, 3 months ago, roughly 3 months ago, North Korea scrapped this deal and was like, you know what? Nah, we're gonna go and start putting soldiers and weapons and tanks and artillery and whatever on our border again because tensions are flaring up. So there's another sign right there that things are getting really dicey over there and scary. Okay, so here's another article as well to back it up. North Korean leader Kim tours weapons factories and vows to advance his arms and his war readiness. Okay, this happened just recently, actually, within the last month. I'd say month or two, where he started doing these tours. He started going all over his country, touring different weapons facilities. You can find all kinds of pictures on the internet about him doing this, and he was just going around to make sure that his country is ready for war. Okay, checking to make sure they've got adequate stock levels of supplies of artillery, ammunition, whatever it might be. Okay, also in terms of their nuclear program, they just recently tested a nuclear weapon, a rocket basically that had solid fueled. It was solid fueled, so basically they could store the fuel in this thing and it could launch whenever. Okay, if it was liquid fueled, they would have to fill it with gas or fuel, and this could take several hours for them to fuel it up before they can launch it. So now they've got the technology of solid fueled energy or fuel that can allow the rocket to be launched immediately. So they've got tons of ballistic missiles that they could easily attach a nuclear warhead to, and they could launch these things in seconds. So if they really wanted to launch a nuclear attack on South Korea, they could do that instantaneously. They don't have to wait hours or hours to fuel up these rockets to get them ready to go, where they could potentially be struck by the South Koreans or by the U.S. or some other adversary, and they could be taken out. So I thought I'd share that with you. That's very interesting. That he's been doing that, and then finally, out of the Wall Street Journal here, Kim Jong Un has enemy number one, and it isn't the U.S. You would think it'd be the U.S., but it's really not. North Korea says it will rewrite its constitution, casting South Korea as a hostile nation, breaking its policy of seeking peaceful reunification. Okay, and also, I believe just recently, South Korea had pulled out of an agreement as well. I forget the name of this agreement. I'll have to go and check on that and show you guys that later in another video. But I believe South Korea recently pulled out of an agreement as well, some sort of military agreement, and immediately they started sending tanks to their border as well. There's video footage online that you can find of South Korea driving battle tanks through their streets, heading up to the northern border of North Korea and South Korea. So definitely, war it looks like it's coming over here very soon, and we're getting these kinds of reports coming out pretty much every week. Okay, that Kim Jong Un is preparing for war against South Korea and potentially the United States as well. More than likely, we would get involved in that because we're allies with them. So it's getting very worrisome. If you look at all these reports I'm putting out here, it's not just North Korea, it's not just Russia, it's Iran, it's Taiwan with China. What is really going to happen here? And if you saw a video I just put out earlier today, or earlier yesterday, you'll see that I put out a video talking about how weak the United States military is. Think about this. If war breaks out in North Korea, do you think we're going to be able to defend South Korea? If war breaks out with China or China, excuse me, China and Taiwan at the same time, do you think we're going to be able to defend South Korea and Taiwan at the same time? I mean, I know Biden came out and said, we don't stand for Taiwan's independence anymore, but ever since they had their change in presidents over there, right? But look at all these wars breaking out, and then we're over here supporting Ukraine. I guess not so much right now because there's an aid package held up, but we are supporting Ukraine. And then we've got what's going on over in the Middle East with Israel and Hamas, and then the Houthis. How are we going to be able to fight all these wars? How is that going to happen? And then on top of that, when I put out that report that we've got the weakest military ever in history, the weakest military, the U.S. has the weakest military right now. What's going to happen? We're just going to have to sit back and I guess just watch all this happen. That's why I keep telling everybody, pay attention to this, because when a war breaks out here, it's going to happen everywhere. Because once one major war breaks out, like let's say North Korea breaks out, do not be surprised if China moves in on Taiwan. Do not be surprised on that, because that could be their prime opportunity to do so. They're waiting for the right opportunity to move in on Taiwan and take it over. President Xi has stated many times he's going to take back Taiwan, and they will become part of the motherland. Okay, so all these wars, I feel like they're all going to happen at the same time, and the United States is going to be spread thin, and all the allies of Europe, they're going to be spread thin, and everybody's going to be caught off guard, and all these wars are going to break out all at the same time, and it's going to be really bad, and it's basically going to be every country for themselves. Whichever country is being attacked, you're on your own, is kind of how I see it. I don't know how you feel. How do you guys feel about this? Are you worried about what's going on over here? I understand it may not be going on in your country, if you live in the United States and we don't directly have a war going on here, at least an actual kinetic war. But are you concerned about this at all? If you are, please comment down below. Let me know your thoughts. I want to know what you're thinking. Are you worried about this? Are you worried about nuclear war? Are you worried about war breaking out over here in North Korea and South Korea, or just potentially all these wars that could break out everywhere at the same time, and the United States and allied partners can't defend any of their national interests, just like I reported in one of my last videos? I mean, it's scary to think about, okay? It's very scary, and what's going to happen if all these countries just get their way, and we're going to have a major transformation of power here is what could happen, and the United States can no longer be the dominant superpower. And what kind of a world is that going to look like? I'm not trying to say that the United States deserves to be that power, but what is that world going to look like? How will that world be shaped? It will definitely impact this world. It'll impact you. It'll impact supply chains, and we're going to have major problems. So I hope you're ready for it. That's going to be it for this video. I appreciate you guys being here. Thanks for hanging out and listening to me and hearing me out. We will see you all in the next video. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you enjoyed this video, please like the video and subscribe to the channel if you enjoy this content. Hit the notification bell so YouTube can notify you. And we'll see you all in the next one. Take care and God bless everybody.